Hello guys and welcome to a new video. So in today's video I would like to talk about a specific topic. I would like to talk about the Eifeler rule, respectively the N rule.
What? I have really no idea what's he talking about.
So for those who are not familiar with that rule, it means that in the Luxembourgish language there are some letters where you can add an N and there are some letters where you cannot add an N. I give an example. For example, you can say den Auto, but on the other hand you can say de bus. Why? Because according to the Eifeler rule, there are some letters where it is allowed to add an N.
You serious, bro?
And so in order to memorize those letters easily, there's actually a method which is called United Zoa. Why United Zoa? Because all the letters which are included in this United Zoa also are the letters where it is possible to add an N. I give an example. For example, we also have the word A in this United Zoa. And so you can say, for example, den Auto. Why den Auto? Because auto starts with the letter A. Or for example, with the Z. So you can say den Zoo. Why den Zoo? Because Zoo starts with the letter Z. Well, another thing is also that, in the Luxembourgish language, there's the letter Y. And the thing is about Y, actually it is an exception because you have two possibilities. You can either add an N or not add an N. I give an example, okay? So, in Luxembourgish language, when there's a name, you add an article to the name.
What?
For example, in English, it would be like Eve, the name Eve. But in Luxembourgish, it would be like den Eve or the Eve. So you have the choice. Why am I talking about this United Zoa, or especially about this Eifeler rule and this N rule? Because this is something which drives a lot of people crazy, While speaking Luxembourgish, for people who want to learn Luxembourgish as a second language, they are really afraid of making mistakes. And so therefore, while speaking, they do not really know when to put an N and when not to put an N. Well, guys, I just want to help you. So, if someone were to ask me, does it really matter the Eifeler rule? I would say, it depends. At work, yes, it really does matter. Because at work, you just want to appear professional. Especially when you write a letter or, for example, an email to your boss or to some co-workers. And the thing is also at work, who wants to read a text which contains a lot of orthographic mistakes or grammatical mistakes at work? I think no one. So therefore I would say at work, yes, it really does matter, the Eifeler rule. But what about the private life? For example, with friends, or for example family. Maybe there are some people who have Luxembourgish family, or maybe if you have a Luxembourgish boyfriend or girlfriend. Does it really matter? And I would say, so this is my own opinion, no, it does not matter at all. Why? Because there are so many Luxembourgish people, especially my age, they do not respect that at all. I would even say that everyone has its own version of Eifeler rule. Why? Because in Luxembourg, for my experience, I've only had 1 year where I had Luxembourgish subject, where I was taught the Luxembourgish orthography, but it was only 1 year and I was back then 13 years old. And the thing is that after 1 year, I forgot everything. Not only me, but everyone forgot it. And this also explains why almost no Luxembourgish person can write correctly Luxembourgish.
What?
It's insane to imagine it. But guys, on the other hand, you also need to remember that in Luxembourg, at school, we learn 3 foreign languages at the same time.
You serious, bro?
English, German, and French. Learning 4 languages at the same time. If we were to add Luxembourgish to it, I think it would be too much. And that's why, guys, please do understand this way. It's true that Luxembourgish people, they do not write correctly Luxembourgish, but on the other hand, we were expected to master the other 3 foreign languages really, really good. Perfectly. On the other hand, I think this should also encourage some people I mean, to not be afraid to write Luxembourgish, because the thing is, yeah, no one expects from you to write correctly Luxembourgish, you know? And if you make a mistake, for example, if you write instead the auto, it's okay. It's really okay. No one cares. Actually, no one really cares. So I'm talking about, about the texting part. I mean, your private life. What about the spoken language in your private life? It does not matter at all. Also the same thing, when I'm speaking to Luxembourgish people, especially with friends in my age group, I mean, no one cares. It's like the same thing. Like there are people who have their own rule of Eifeler rule, yeah, and therefore no one cares. Also, in my traveling vlogs, I mean, for those who have watched my traveling vlogs, so when I was speaking Luxembourgish, I didn't care at all. I wasn't respecting it at all. I didn't care. And so about this native speaker thing, there's one thing I would like to talk about. Native speaker does not mean that this person speaks perfectly his or her language all the time. No, native speaker means that this person feels really comfortable in his or her native language, which makes a lot of sense. Guys, I give an example. For example, about the English language. There's so many English native speakers who even make some mistakes in English. For example, I don't know, there are so many people, they say there's around 7 people. But it's not there's around 7 people, it should be there are around 7 people. But somehow it is accepted in the English language, which is, yeah, a little bit weird to me, but yes. And also when I was living in Germany, I mean, there were so many German native speakers, even my professors included, who were not speaking correctly German all the time. Sometimes they also made some mistakes. But did anyone care? No, no one cared. Why? Because the thing is, and I will say it again, the goal of learning a language is communication and not perfection. This is really important, okay? So as a summary, at work, it does matter. But outside of the work, no one cares. I hope I could help you with today's video, and I wish you also a nice evening. See you next time.